Zach in Richmond. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Good to hear from you, Matt. I'm a big fan of you and been watching all your stuff for years.
Cool. I'll probably get this wrong, but go ahead.
Hey, so, man, I don't know how to start this. Mark Twain said truth is stranger than fiction.
Maybe.
And in the past about year, ran into a lot of deep history information, and it's just mind-boggling. So I thought I'd just throw some words out there to kind of get your mind thinking. So before the historical Babylonians, they were around 7,757 BC. Apparently, I ran into a small group of online deep history researchers and stuff, and they say, history goes way before the Hebrews, before the Babylonians, and we have evidence of it in the Art Nova font and the Desdemona font of Shakespeare, and
so I'm completely lost because the call screener thing said you wanted to know what my definition of ontology was, and now we're talking about fonts that Shakespeare used and how that shows there was history that's old. I don't know how that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's really hard to preface it because it's sort of a gestalt understanding. You kind of have to get beyond.
I don't know how anything tied to Shakespeare could demonstrate that there was history before the Babylonians. I mean, there's something about that entire thought process that just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, okay. I can give you a straight answer.
It's like saying that a song Elvis wrote proves that Julius Caesar liked pickles.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll connect the dot right now.
Okay.
So there's the idea that letters are like an exoteric for the main group of people who use them, and then there's an inner esoteric knowledge of what they're actually for to a small clique of people down through history. And Shakespeare is the idea of Jacques-Pierre. The idea of it's sort of like where we get the idea of I am from, or my name is from. I forget his name. Jim Appel. You know the word Jim Appel?
It's French.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we kind of get the idea I am from. The name, my name is I am. Anyways, to connect the dots.
I'm pretty sure the concept of existence and self existed long before French.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's the inner.
Then clearly French can't be where we got the concept from.
Yeah. There's an inner esoteric for the group who know where these ideas come from. And
I'm not interested in secret knowledge about languages and stuff like that.
Okay, I can go beyond that.
Well, I don't know. Beyond it, which direction? What is the point that we're trying to get to?
Well, I had a question on ontology because I'm trying to personally look deeper into history because I think that's actually where...
I don't know how... That doesn't relate to history. So ontology is about... Ontology is about what something is made of. What is its essence?
Right.
It's about, the ontology of my glasses or whatever. This is... I don't know how this relates to history. In this, I'm not even sure what you're asking. So try one more time.
Changes over time.
I was able to go further deeper into history research-wise by connecting truth to ontology. If that makes any sense, I can go deeper. Ontology to me was the preeminence for truth. The more ontological understanding you have of the world, the more transparent truth becomes.
Okay, so my knee-jerk reaction was just to call bullshit on that, but I would have been wrong. Because when we're talking about what is truth, I have a conformist view of truth, which is that truth is that which is consistent with reality. And so if you understood the nature of reality better, you would have a more true understanding of reality. But that has nothing to do with what the meaning of ontology that's...
okay. I guess it was a word for the lack of a word I could think of. because I studied mostly philosophy, then I just happened to run into this history of Babylonia, Carthaginians, Semites, and then before that, I found actual evidence of, to my best knowledge, of ancient peoples who were actually not that dumb as we think, as we're like predictively programmed to think. That the further back in time you go,
dumb's kind of I mean, it's first of all, it's a crappy word to just use in general because it's not really saying anything. The ancient people had an understanding of things. Our understanding is better, more accurate. If the claim is that ancient people had a more accurate understanding, then you'd need to actually find a way to demonstrate that.
Well, I do.
Okay, cool.
The Indian history. If you go into India, they talk about deluges, and they talk about fires in the sky.
Yeah, fires and floods we know about, and we know more than ancient people did.
Okay, let me try and put it in another way. They talk about man as being the kind of infinite clay.
But man isn't infinite or clay, so clearly they weren't right.
Right, they're not. I know they're not right. They're
okay, I'm trying to find this example of ancient peoples having a great understanding for something that we don't.
Well, I'm trying to tell you, mostly what I'm trying to tell you is allegory for something, inner truth that they understand.
Allegory isn't truth. Metaphor is not truth.
The allegory. The truth is behind the allegory. So
okay, then throw the allegory out so we can see the truth.
Yeah. So that there were ancient people, I think, based off my research, that weren't necessarily smarter than you and I. What I'm saying is that there may have been a group of people, based on my research, that were idiot savant. If you've heard of the idiot savant.
Well, I just used the word savant. They exist now. It's entirely plausible that they've existed in various extents throughout our history. But when we're talking about, I'm not even sure what we're talking about, other than you were going to show that ancient people had some knowledge and wisdom that we no longer possess, or we've lost, or what?
Well, the Indians kind of hint that what happens is you have it rises and falls. It isn't like a one great intelligence.
What rises and falls?
What happens? Civilizations, ideas. It's not necessarily this linear thing. Their ideas, they rise. They create civilization. They have great. And the other thing I was going to tell you was the idea of certain particular thing. I did an interview with Alan Watt, and he a deep researcher into ancient history, and he was telling me about I have the video on YouTube too if you want to watch it. It's Alan Watt Talks with Zach with 3 Z's, and he goes into the basically where they used to live too in Ethiopia. He calls it used to be called Abyssinia, and the idea of Abyssinia is ABC. You have that's the kind of inner esoteric of the idea of Abyssinia was because you had A, B, and C, which is C is.
It reminds me of what I remember in Tanakh class in high school. We learned about how all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet have a numerical meaning, and then if you look at this word and you add up the numbers in this word and compare it to another word, and it sounds like you're looking for a deeper meaning that's not there.
You can connect certain things, but there, like I said, there's a theory called just Gestalt theory.
Well, see, here's the thing where I'm just going to call. I don't know what your point. No, Zach, stop.
No, okay, go ahead.
What year did you interview Alan Watts?
This year.
Because he died in 1973.
No. It's Alan Watt with one.
Oh.
No S. Yeah. No S.
Okay.
That would have been impressive.
I was like, wow. I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I thought you said Alan Watts, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Alan Watts has been dead for a long time.
This is a Scottish-Canadian deep history researcher from Britain.
Well, the thing is, when people start, so like when Shelley was talking about the Tanakh, and then we talk about Bible codes. Yes, in Hebrew, each individual letter is also a word, and there's a number of different meanings and everything else, and you can play those games with it. But to say that Abyssinia is somehow tied to ABC when we're talking about, is this the origin of a particular alphabet? Is it linguistic? And at the end of the day, what the hell did we learn from that, even if it were true? That I don't even understand what the connection is.
You can make connections between...
The ABC, I'm sorry to interrupt both of y'all. The ABC meant atomic, biological, chemical.
Meant that to who?
To the
ancient...
I'm not telling you a truth. I'm just giving you an idea of what I've read. I'm not telling you this is absolute. I'm just
I don't care if it's absolute. I care whether or not there's any reason to care about it. Who did this mean that's to?
Sorry?
Okay, so the A was for atomic. To who?
Mm-hmm.
People who didn't understand atoms?
Well, when you... do you mind if I talk about Plato, or do you want me to... I don't know how to answer your question. I can go into what kind of...
I don't know where we're going or what the purpose is.
Okay, Alan, what?
The purpose is just an inner esoteric and an exoteric for most of the masses to kind of to use knowledge, but the inner esoteric, they understand where the knowledge kind of is a derivative of history, as you have ancient peoples coming down through history that hold like knowledge, and they over time, and it's not necessarily a linear growth or decay. It's sort of a random process of information. And I mean, basically, Alan Watt gets... Yeah, have you found the video too?
I looked it up. It says he's a conspiracy theorist who runs the online ministry Cutting Through the Matrix, where he preaches New World Order conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this is all making a lot of sense. I'm now that we know we're talking...
The world is on the brink of collapse. Governments are using the conflict in the Middle East to distract us from the real problem of chemtrails.
Yeah, I want to preface too by saying he is not necessarily telling everything. He does still keep a wall of silence on certain particular...
Oh, bullshit.
I think
if he's been publicly labeled a conspiracy theorist, to then double down and say that there's also things that he's not telling us. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not interested in this esoteric stuff. Sorry.
Climate change is a hoax and being used as an excuse to bring about some agenda. Not even...
Ooh, some agenda. I hope it's being used to bring about the agenda of changing what we do that affects the planet. That would be a good agenda to potentially address, but...